Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for being with me today. Today we're going to go over metals in Unreal Engine 5. So we're going to create some metal materials. I'll show you the way to do that, and we'll also talk about physically based rendering, and we'll also add some normal maps to some of the metals at the end to add some detail. So we'll get a couple normal maps we make from Substance Designer, and we'll do that at the end. So the first thing we need to do to create our metals in Unreal is we need a master material that we're going to do all these on. And I've already made the master material and made a bunch of the metals, but I did leave one for us to make here, and that's the aluminum. So I named my master material. I have a materials folder here. And now if you don't have a world like this, or you don't know how to get to a world like this, or a lot of these materials, I actually have tutorials covering getting started with Unreal, and I'll put that getting started with Unreal tutorial link in the description. Okay, so the first thing we need is a master material. So I named mine mMetalN. Now to make it, you just right click in your drawer and you create a material right here, and then you'll name it. And then I named mine mMetalN, and let's open that up and see what I put in there. So the first thing I put is just a straight up color. And you can do that by hitting the 4 key and left clicking, and that'll give you a vector 4, and then you can put the values in. Okay, and what I put in for mine, we'll open that up quick, is 0.35, 0.35, 0.35. Alpha's at 0. We could actually put that to 1. It doesn't really matter. We're not going to use the alpha for anything in this material. We'll plug this pin right into the base color there. And then we need a number for metallic. So we hit the 1 key and left click, and it'll make a value here. Just put 1 in. That means it's metallic. 1 is metallic, 0 is not metallic. So if you had a map or a mask, anything that was white, completely white, would be metallic, and anything that was black would be not metallic. Sometimes you can use the in-between ranges, but it's not very common. Usually you would use it for like a rusty surface or something. Specular you can keep at 0.5 is fine. Roughness here is another value that we put in. So I just hit 1 and left click, and you can put a value in, and I put 0.03, and if you right click on this, you can convert it to a parameter and name that parameter roughness, like I did right here. Now plug that roughness right into your roughness, and 0.3 is going to make it a little bit more dull. If it was 0, that would be completely smooth. 0.3 would make a little bit more dull metal. Now for the normal map, I did a 1 pixel by 1 pixel normal blue color, and I'll show you where that is here. That's right here. I call it T 1 pixel flat NRM. You can make that in any painting program. Just make a 1 pixel by 1 pixel canvas. You can even do it in Substance Designer, and then you just export it out. The color I use there for that 1 pixel normal texture is 127, 127, 255. So you can make that in Paint, Photoshop, Substance Designer, anything. Then just import it by right clicking here, import to current folder, and import that. And then we pull that up into our material, and then we convert it to a parameter. It's basically just a placeholder. We put it into the parameter, we convert it into a parameter, and we name it normal map. So right click, convert it to a parameter, name it normal map. Now, you don't need that 1 pixel by 1 pixel texture. It's just, that's the way I do it. You could put any normal map in there. If you had an engine one, if you've made one in the past, it's just a placeholder. So just plug that into normal, okay? And that's basically all we have for our master metal material. We have a color, so we can change the color. We turn that into a parameter there. We have the roughness that we change into a parameter, so we can change that value. And we have a normal map that we change into a parameter, so we can put different normal maps in there. So save that away. And then we'll close that down. And we're going to make a material for our aluminum here. So let's go to our materials folder. And we right click on our mMetalN and create material instance, MI. ALUMINUM. Of course, I put an S in there. ALUMINUM. Yep. And we'll call one dull. So Mi aluminum dull. And let's duplicate that. And we'll name the other one Mi aluminum polished. And there you go. Now we'll just save those. Now Unreal and a lot of other engines uses a physically based rendering system. So for metals, the nice thing is they can take values from the real world and we can plug them into our materials, and it'll really come close to approximating what it's going to look like, the correct values. So let's open up our Mi aluminum dull, kind of shrink it down a little bit so we can see here. So the first thing we need to do with our aluminum here is we tick on this color here so that we can change the color, and open that up. Let's kind of minimize our regular deal here so that I can show you some values. And then I'm going to just pull up this notepad file that I made here. And this has values that they were scanned from the real world, and you can put them in for your colors for your metal. So here's aluminum is red, 0.916, so let's put that in. Green is 0.923. And blue is 0.924. Okay, you can just hit OK, and now we have the color of our aluminum in there. So there you go, and we can leave everything else the same for now. So let's close that, and let's open back up our aluminum polished to get our colors into that one. So click on the color and go 0.916, 0.923, and 0.924. Okay. And for this one, we're going to change the roughness value because this is polished, so we want it to be much more smooth. We're going to make it as smooth as it can get. So we're going to put 0. And for you, feel free to play with the roughness values in between that range. Like the 0.0 to 0.3 range would be good for metals usually. So there you go. Save that. And now we have our aluminum dull and our aluminum polished. Now let me talk about this metals text here. These are all of the values for all of the materials that I'm going to show you. And I got those from this source here, this physicallybased.info. Now, it's a great reference for physically based stuff because it gives you a good starting point for when you're making materials to understanding what kind of colors you should be using. And I also have, here is the color for that flat normal here on the bottom. But let me pull up that site quick and let me show you. So here's that physically based site, and I will link that in the description. And this also has a bunch of other materials which is really useful in here, right? The only thing you're going to want to do, so say you are going to make, if you're adding the number into Unreal, it's fine to add these numbers. But if not, and you're going to start doing something in Photoshop, you want to change the color space here and change it to sRGB. It changes the numbers a little bit because Unreal uses linear. So you're going to want to use, it'll convert this to linear when you put your maps in. But if you're creating it in Photoshop or whatever, use these numbers. If you're entering the numbers into Unreal, go to linear here, and then you can enter your numbers in from here. Okay, and I will, like I said, I'll link this. This is a great reference. It's going to help you with physically based colors. Now, I wouldn't always stick to this perfectly because there is artistic, you want to have your artistic eye too. So if something just this, if these numbers just don't look right in your game, feel free to change them. These are a great starting point, and you'll see as you go down, there's a bunch of different materials and a bunch of different measured values for those materials. Okay, so let's shut that back down. Now, that's what I used to create this text file here. Now, you can copy these numbers down if you want and make your own text file or whatever. But if it lets me in YouTube, I'm going to take these numbers and I'm going to add them to the description. Then you can just cut and paste them too. Okay? But they're a great starting point for our metal materials. So now we'll open back up Unreal, and we'll take our aluminum that we just created in those two material instances, and we'll pull them onto this. And like I said, if you don't know how to make this, I have a starting with Unreal tutorial that I'll link in the description. So let's pull the dull on this one, the dull on that one, and the polished on that one, and the polished on that one. Okay? And there you go. And that's basically the starting point of our metals. So if you want, we can kind of go through, and I'll kind of, here's copper, you can see, and if I pull it up, you can see we have those colors from that database. Okay? And we haven't changed anything else. So then we got gold, we have iron, we have nickel, silver, stainless steel. Now I'm not going to go through all of those colors because you can just do them yourself by following the instructions we did for the first aluminum here. So let's just save this. That's not it. We're also going to add some bump to some of these just to add some detail. Now, this isn't going to be necessarily perfectly correct, but you have to look at your individual object that you're trying to make and make your specific bump. You can look at the metal, you can see if it looks like it was brushed on, you can see if it has little bumps on it, you can see if it's galvanized, and that sort of thing. So I'm going to now take you into Substance Designer, and we're going to make some normal maps very quick and very easy that we can apply to these very simple ones. Because this is more of like a beginner's getting you started tutorial, and then we can go into some real complicated metal stuff in the future. Now here we are in Substance Designer, and we've made some very quick and easy normal maps that we can apply to our metals. And let me just show you how we did that. So if you hit the space bar, here's our nodes up here. If you hit the space bar, look for moisture noise, pop one of those in, invert that, so space bar and search out invert grayscale, and we'll plug that into, and you're going to have to search that one out. It's a normal Sobel, okay? We'll double click on that so it shows up in our 2D view, and then over here on the right for the normal intensity, 0.03 for that one, okay? So then we'll save that out, click on this here, and we'll save it as tpittednrm.bmp here. Okay? Save that out. And that's our first normal map. We'll make another quick one with grunge leaks. So space bar to grunge, and then search out grunge leaks. Put that in, connect that to a normal Sobel. And this intensity we'll set to 0.23. So that intensity 0.23 there. Double click so that makes sure it's in the 2D window. There it is. We'll save that out. We'll save that to tleaksnrm.bmp. Okay, save that. And that's number 2 normal map we're going to make. We're going to make another one with blue noise fast. So spacebar, look that up, blue noise fast, pop that in, plug that into our normal Sobel. The intensity for that one is 0.2, intensity 0.2, double click. We'll save this one out. We'll save this one as small bumps. Okay, I'll show you that quick again because I think I went through that pretty quick. So let's t small bumps nrm.bmp. Okay, save. We'll do one more, directional scratches. So search out directional scratches here. Plug that into our normal Sobel. The directional scratches, we put the scale to 2. You can see the details down here. And of course, feel free to make your own normal maps and plug them in and see what they look like and bring them into Unreal and all that fun stuff. So here we go. We turn this into a normal Sobel again. And the intensity for this one is 0.1. And then for this one, we'll save this one out. So double click, go to save. And save this one as t-brushed nrm bmp. Okay, t_brushed _nrm.bmp. There you go. Okay, so that's our 4 maps. Pretty simple. Close this down, and then back in Unreal, we'll go to our textures folder. Here's the ones we made, but I will just delete them out. And then we'll re-import them just to prove that we did it. And here's the normal maps, just select them all, hit open, dunk, dunk, dunk. It'll open them all as normal maps. Now we have them and we can test them out. Okay. So first let's test one out on our copper here. So go to materials. And if you're going to have made all of these, obviously using those values that I showed you earlier and the way we made the aluminum. But let's test our copper dull. Open that puppy up and you can click on normal map here. Go to our textures. And for this one, let's make this one the brushed one. So pull in the brushed. And now you can see how it makes it kind of look like a brushed metal here. Okay? So save that. Go to another texture. Let's go to the copper polished and we'll put the brush in there too. So textures, bring our brush normal up into there, bunk, and there you go. Let's save that. Now when you come in, let's see if I can, let's go full screen here for a second. You can see the brushed metal look on your copper. And you can see it on both the plane that I created here plus the spheres. Okay? So that's example number one. Let's go over to the gold. Let's look up that material. Open up gold dull MI. Go to normal map. Go to our textures. And for gold, let's do small bumps. Okay, just put small bumps in there. Now you can see we have small bumps on our gold texture. Let's open up the polished version of our gold. There we go. Click on normal map. Bring our small bumps up into there. Save that. And now you can zoom in and you can look at that. And now it'll add some small bumps and some surface variation in our metals. And like I said, you need to look at your particular surface to see if what fits what. All right. All right, let's continue on. Let's go to our iron here. And for iron, I did kind of a goofy one. Let's find our iron dull. Let's open both of them, iron dull and iron polished here. Let's go to textures. Click on our normal map here. Bring in our leaked normal. Save that. In both of them. Click on that. Bring in our leaks normal on the other one. And there you go. Very subtle effect on this one, but you can kind of see this adds more of like a leaky kind of more galvanic a little bit for our iron. Now you can, like I said, play with all of your different normal map stuff in Substance Designer and you get all sorts of different cool results. I just wanted to make some simple ones to show you today. All right, so why don't we go back to our aluminum here and we'll add our pitted to our aluminum. MI aluminum dull, MI aluminum polished. Let's open them both up. Let's click on the normal map. Let's bring in our texture. We'll do this one will be the last one we did, which was pitted. Put that on one of them, save, and then pitted. And then pitted on the other one and save. And there you go. Now let's kind of look in there and you can really see. Let's just kind of take a look at these. So there's our aluminum. You can see the version of the spheres here and the planes. Here's our copper with our brushed look. Here's our gold with our small spots look. And then here's our iron with that more leaky look. So there you go. And you can add and play around and make ones for your other ones too, or even apply those ones to these. So there you go. That's pretty much our metal. Now, the important takeaway from this is that with physically based materials, you can get a value, a red value, that you can plug in to get you started on making your color map. Now, I know these are just straight up colors for the metals, and for clean metals, a lot of times you would just use a straight up color, but you could also make a map. And you could make very subtle variations in the color in the map, but keep them relatively close to these colors, and you'll get results that look nearly realistic, very close to realistic. So hopefully that was helpful. In the future, we're going to go over more complicated metals. But this is just to get us started and just to show you about the physically based system and to get you to that website and start getting you working that way. I am a really small channel, so like and subscribe if you found any value of this. And I really appreciate you being here, and I really hope you have a great day. Take care of yourselves.